Before we get started, if you missed any of our episodes, you can always head over to kboxtv.com/community/the-breakdown. Now let's break it down. Today we're focusing on New Year's resolutions and kind of goal setting, other goals, and how to keep and maintain those goals. All right, I'm here with Dr. Omavi, and we're going to be talking about the New Year's goals and basically goal setting in general. So it's interesting. I mean, I'll be honest. So I don't usually do New Year's goals, right? Okay. I know some people are really into them. Some people aren't into them. I always just kind of leaned on, I just kind of treat it as the year. You know, you're moving through the year. If you need to make a change, kind of work on making the change, right? And I heard in general, that's kind of a good way to go, but it's not how everybody works, right? So New Year's comes around, New Year's resolution. I actually made one this year, and mine was going to be go out a little bit less, you know? And so far I've stuck to that. I didn't go out tons, but I would like to go out once in a while. And if you end up going out, a lot of times you end up staying out a little late or whatever. So I've kind of cut back a little bit, and I've done pretty good. I had a little bit of maybe a slip up, you know, mid-month, but already here we are approaching February, and I've kind of got it back under control. Okay. Now, what are some psychological factors that can make it difficult for people to keep the New Year's resolutions? Because you go into these with good intentions, right? You know, you're like, I want to change my life. I want to make this better. I want to make that better. So what are some of the things that make it difficult for people to keep them?
Well, first of all, in my opinion, life is made up of cycles. Okay. It's a lot of different cycles, right? You can have a month, you have your routine for a day or a week, but the year is like a cycle of a full year has ended, and it's a new beginning. But every day is a new beginning. So I'm with you on that. Like every day you should have a goal for your day, right? I think if you're a business owner, you really understand like the fiscal year and like the quarter, you know, et cetera.
For taxes and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think everyone needs to find their rhythm. Okay. They need to find their cycle. Okay. And once you understand the different cycles, you break it down. Okay. There's cycles within cycles, and you do one step at a time. Okay. So I think people run into challenges sometimes because, I'm gonna tell you what I think one of the biggest challenges are. Yeah. You don't set your goals big enough. Some people, you set them too big. No. The goal needs to be big. Okay. The steps need to be small.
I like that.
Okay. So that's why you have objectives. You have a goal, but you have objectives. Right. So if your goal is, I want to make this much money, or I want to, I want to lose weight. Right. I want to improve my health. I want to improve my marriage. Okay, cool. Right. Great goal. But you should go even bigger. All right. Really? You should go bigger. There was one quote that said, I'm trying to remember who actually said this quote. If your goal can be achieved in your lifetime, it's not big enough. And personally, I live by that philosophy because you want to have a legacy. Sure. And if you're running a race, if you ever played sports or you ran track, you never set your eyes on the finish line. Right. You run through the finish line. And so I do think people should set big goals. Okay. And the goals shouldn't just be annual. They should be bigger than that. But we got to have small steps to reach those.
And I think that's kind of an interesting key, because the next thing I was going to ask you was, how can someone ensure their goals are realistic and achievable from a psychological standpoint? And maybe that is the key, the small steps.
It's the small steps. There's some people who meet their goals and okay, I made my goal. Now what? I don't know. I don't know what to do next. True. But you've ever heard the saying, shoot for the moon, land in the stars, and that's true too. Like your goal needs to be big, but you gotta have small interval steps that can be measured, that can be monitored, that can be held accountable. Yes, but you'll be surprised how far you can get if you're just taking one step at a time in one direction, not all over the place.
There was an acronym that I had heard years ago, and I used it initially for goal setting. And then I started to use it in other areas of my life. And I can't remember where it was. It's somewhere on my iPad. And it was basically like measuring your time daily or something like that, like MYD or something like that. And it was little benchmarks that you could set, through the day. And I was using this to And the funny thing is, and this is so weird, you got me thinking, it actually became automatic in some of the areas that I applied it to. So one of the things was, we have a work meeting and it starts off, and I started off with weather basically, and I need to be here on time. And so, and then I needed to be here on time every day. Right. And I remember, so I started using this metric to kind of measure time as I was leaving. And one of the metrics was, where was I? Was I moving toward the garage by this set time?
Right.
The next metric was, okay, was I in downtown at this set time?
Right.
And eventually it was kind of funny. It literally, now my mind is just wired for it.
Thank
and it
you.
moves through it automatically.
We are designed to be creative, to create. We are. We're designed to be productive. We're designed to produce.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But there is a method, and most of it is repetition. It's practice and repetition. And there's some people who are naturally gifted and talented. They're born with a God-given gift.
Right.
Most people aren't naturally gifted at the thing that they love the first time they do it.
Right.
They got to practice. So, and even if you are naturally gifted, you still need to practice.
True.
Because there's some people, they can become complacent. So in my opinion, I think the goals need to be really big. All right.
Okay.
I don't think we should tell people not to dream, be more realistic. No. Dream big.
I've actually had people tell me that.
No.
I remember way back, I had somebody tell me, why can't you be happy with, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, that's another thing. Happiness.
Okay.
So let's talk about what a goal looks like.
Okay.
And because it really comes down to vision. So let's say, first thing I tell my patients and my people that I mentor or people that I take care of or help, I say, the goal must be positive. Okay, so if they want to lose weight, it's never about, I'm going to not do this, I'm going to not do that, I'm going to stop doing this. No. Because all your brain is going to think about is doing that. Because that not doesn't translate psychologically.
It almost translates to can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
The subconscious, and this is what I had learned, that the subconscious does not interpret not.
Oh, interesting.
And it cannot interpret try. So don't say, I'm going to try to do this.
Okay.
Give me a clear example.
Yeah.
I say, okay, so don't eat any more donuts.
Okay.
First thing comes to your mind is donuts.
Yeah.
You start to see donuts everywhere. You start, I didn't even want a donut until you said something. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
very true.
So it's psychologically, there are some tools.
Okay.
Focus, attraction. Is another example I love. I'm a sports fan. Okay. And I look at guys who are playing the games at a high level. Let's take Steph Curry.
Yeah.
All right. He's the best shooter ever to play the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, that's known. And when you look at him, even in his warm-ups, he's just shooting these ridiculous shots.
Yep.
And what you have to realize is that he's a guy that you never would have thought would be an NBA star.
That's right.
You understand?
Even when he started, people doubted him.
Exactly.
Yep.
But his practice, his routine, his discipline, his regimen helps him do one thing: have immaculate focus. It requires focus to reach your goals. So when he's shooting, the basket looks so big, he can't miss. It's huge because his focus from his repetition allows that thing to expand in his world, expand in his consciousness.
That's interesting.
You're right. So I think that's why you can dream big. You can have big goals to reach your big dreams. Small, repetitious steps that have discipline, that can be measured, that increase your focus, that tap into your ability to expand those things in your world, in your consciousness. You start to see it everywhere. You start to find your rhythm.
Right.
You start to do it subconsciously.
Yeah.
It's effortless. Yeah. It's easy. And that's the example of Steph Curry. It's easy. Like, we just,
I saw a video of him. It was really random where he did 2 3-pointers but facing the other way.
Yeah.
He literally turned away from the hoop.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe. I mean, everyone was like in awe. And for him, he was just like, it was like nothing.
He's an exceptional human being, yes, but he's a human being.
Now let me ask you this, because this is really fascinating, because we're talking about goals. Now I want to know your opinion on this, because there were a couple of guys, Warren Buffett And oh yeah, I'm sure you know it. Okay, so and talk about goal setter, and his business partner Charlie Munger,
Right.
who passed away actually, I believe about a year and a half ago or so, and then at 99, just before 100. Anyway, they said, and especially Charlie, I think Charlie impressed it more on Warren, but they both had this idea: set goals, but never forget, stay. And I want your opinion on this. Stay within your circle of competence. And like for me, I've got a circle of competence when it comes to like, so for investing,
Right.
but it's in a couple of areas.
Right.
Okay. And I've tried to go into others, right? Even like crypto, for example. I've dabbled in it. I've made a little bit in it, but nothing, you know, to this day, I understand it as well as I did on day 3.
Right.
Right. So but when I apply that same energy to areas that are my circle of competence,
Right.
I see gains.
Right.
So
It's right though.
okay.
It's keep the primary thing the primary thing.
Okay.
It's focus.
Yeah.
It's attention. See, at some point, you know, your excellence will penetrate through everything else you want.
Okay.
You know, but you have to have that focus. A lot of young people I mentor, I say, look, it probably takes most people at least 20 years to break through. That you have to have repetition for like 20 years.
And
It took me 20 years from graduating high school to finishing my fellowship. It was like 19, 20 years.
Now I can tell you've got incredible focus. I mean, I'll give you got better focus than I've got. I wish I could take some of it from you, but you'd be like, no. You know?
I appreciate that. But it's something you have to focus on.
It takes time. You got to
It does, yeah.
So then let's kind of pivot into, because obviously if goal setting, if a big part of goal setting is focus,
Yes.
okay, which is essentially controlling your mind and having better control over your mind.
Yeah.
What are some baby steps to get better focus? Because I think that's going to be the big question, because that'll help you achieve more goals.
Let me tell you what I believe and what I've implemented in my life, and what I implement and to help implement into life of my patients. Okay. Start with the normal, natural things you do every day.
Okay.
The one thing most people do every day is sleep.
Yeah.
There's data that has shown that poor sleep impacts your ability to focus, pay attention, and recall things that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And learning new things
Right.
is impacted by your sleep. Sleep has 3 components: sleep quality, sleep duration, and sleep timing. Many people forget about the time. Like, oh yeah, I sleep good. I get 7, 8 hours, but I don't go to bed until 2 a.m. Okay. No. There's a rhythm to it. Once you find your rhythm, everything becomes easier. It becomes effortless. Everything in the natural world has a rhythm.
Right.
It does. And so once you tap into your personal rhythm, that becomes what I guide people to. Don't focus on all these other things you want to do. Just find your rhythm. Because if you're in rhythm, you're going to do it incrementally and it's going to get done.
So basically, if you find and fall into your rhythm, it takes some of the work out of it, because it's going to automatically come to you. Like,
It allows you to focus on one thing, your rhythm.
okay.
Every day is going to be different tasks you got to do, different things you got to tackle, different problems you have to solve.
Right.
Are you in rhythm? Okay. So when you talk about rhythm, you have a circadian rhythm.
Right.
It's really about your ability to be in sync with nature.
Okay.
There's a timing where you're at your peak performance. There's a timing where you have your dip. And there's a time where you have your second wind. There's a time when you need to be winding down, resting, sleeping, recovering, and getting ready to do it again.
Yeah.
So some people think I just need to burn out, reach my goal. I got to do it in this period of time. And then you burn out.
Right.
But the truth is, the people who really win have longevity of repetition over time. It's just like investments. It's compounded interest over time.
It is, right.
Okay. So another sports example, LeBron James.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he the greatest? Is he the GOAT? It's debatable.
He's not Michael Jordan.
Okay. He's not Michael Jordan. However, he's breaking all his records. Okay. And the reality is, LeBron James does something really, really well. He recovers well. So he's the first athlete to be a billionaire and still play the game. He's playing it long enough for his son to be playing it with him. First ever to have a father-son. He's still playing at a high level. He doesn't have as many championships as Michael Jordan, but he has a lot of records that he's broken individually, mainly because he reached a high level and maintained it because he took care of his body, which was about the recovery. So you have longevity. A lot of what that really undermines people is they're trying to achieve goals in a time frame,
Right.
versus focusing on rhythm over longevity. And my thought is that once you reach a certain level, you're climbing, and you feel especially in a career, you get to a certain level, and you're burning out. I'm tired, because you didn't take care of yourself on your way there, and you're not taking care of yourself when you're at that high level, carrying all that stress, and you start to burn out, and your career peters out right when you should be breaking all the records, excelling, really, doing what you were designed to do.
So let me ask you this then. So we learn and we understand the best way to approach a goal.
Right.
Basically, is to find your rhythm and you can get your focus. So that's probably the best way to hold through, right? To see it through.
Right.
And like you said, it's not just going to be, some of it will then come automatic, which I love, because you're going to train your body, and some of these things essentially are going to get less hard.
Right.
I guess is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
But what about if you fall off? So let's say, and let's do like, and they may fall into the same category. Let's do like a medium fall off and then like a hard fall off. Like, man.
I don't know anyone who's reached these levels who hasn't had that happen.
Oh, okay.
I've had it happen.
Yeah.
We
all have it.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
The biggest failures I've had have led to the biggest successes I've had. If it was someone who just wanted to stop my success, like haters, if they don't want you to succeed, they don't want you to win,
come driver.
Then it made me, I got to win big now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no, because it must be something there
that
somebody wants to stop, because there's something meaningful there. And that's the thing. Another key is two things. If you get lost, there's this African proverb from West Africa that says, it's called Sankofa. If you don't know where you're going, go back to where you started.
Okay.
All right. So if people get lost, they really get into this kind of space where they don't know their purpose. They thought, they think they can't do this anymore. They don't know why they're even here.
Right.
There's a lot of people in that space. They may be successful, but they're not happy. They're not being driven by purpose. They don't have a sense of destiny. I do think it's important for them to go back. And when I say go back, there's different ways. Like, look at your past, but also look at the past of the people before you. Like, you are a part of somebody's legacy. Okay? So that's something important. The second thing is positive speech.
Okay.
The thing that got me through, it's two things I use to get me through some of the hardest times. Of course, your spirituality is important.
Right.
Very important. In addition to that, for me personally, positive speech and music. Music helps me find my rhythm. Yeah, and as a physician, we have to go through a lot of exams. I mean, crazy exams, 8-hour long exams, 2-day long exams, like just ridiculous stuff. And so, when you're studying 16 hours a day and you're pushing yourself to your limits and you're preparing for an exam that could end your career, you have to be extremely focused. And everything's happening around you, people's lives, things that happen in your family, but you still got to be making progress, right? So when you're at that point and you're doubting yourself, or people are doubting you, and you have this insurmountable task in front of you, you have to wake up in the morning and tell yourself, I am ready. I am. And so I even have my patients do this. Get a note card and write I am, and fill in the blank of whatever you need. And read those cards daily.
Strong, ready.
Because people are not going to tell you you're great. People are not going to tell you can do it.
So real quick, you touched on the friend thing.
Yeah.
Or you touched on haters, right?
Yeah.
And people need to evaluate your friends too.
Yeah. For real.
Because you got some friends, and and I've seen it around me, where someone will be trying to do something. I've even heard the story, even family members.
Yeah.
You gotta check all around you.
It's true.
And if they're, well, you don't need to do that, or they told me I didn't need to actually try to go and invest in that. They wanted me to kind of stay where I'm at.
First, you're talking too much.
Right.
You have to keep your goals close to your chest, close to your vest. You really do. Those big goals and those dreams, you don't just cast them out to everybody. Like, it's not like that, you know, because people's talk, negative talk really does impact you subtly and subconsciously. And you want to keep that close. And it's good to have people that lift you up. You got to know who they are.
Right.
It doesn't
Those
have
are
to
the
be
ones
a
you
lot
can
of people.
share a little bit.
Yeah, you can talk, you can bounce ideas off of them and everything. But if you're feeling really like, you know, excited about something and passionate about something, and you have a conversation like, I don't know if you can do that. I have people say the same thing about me. Are you sure you can be a doctor? You know, I don't know. You think you can do? Man, why don't you just go and you know, do something else? Be a professor, or, you know, just get your master's degree, whatever.
Right.
They don't even know. They don't even know what they're doing sometimes. They can have good intentions, but that negative talk, it cuts something down in your subconscious, starts to put doubt.
Yeah.
And doubt is that thing that just destroys and eats away at everything.
And it doesn't even take much.
It does not.
I mean, that's the sad part about it. It can be one little sentence slipped in, and subconsciously you grab onto that.
Yes. And that's why faith is powerful, but doubt is too. And I think it's the opposite of faith. Someone has faith, they have confidence. Doubt and confusion is the thing that destroys a lot of people who could have been, you know? And that's a difference maker. So what I encourage people to do is encourage yourself. Wake up and tell yourself. I can't say how many successful people do this. They look in the mirror, and it sounds cheesy. They look in the mirror and they say, you know, I look good, or I can do this. I'm ready today. I'm the top. I'm number one. You know, it's like DJ Khaled. You know, it's like, but you really have to tell yourself what you need your subconscious mind to act on. You know, because when you think about it and you break it down scientifically, to have a thought, to then take that thought and write it down, to then read it. So you look at it, you see these symbols on a piece of paper, you're reading it, it's an image that's imprinted into your mind, and then you speaking it. That's a lot of activity happening internally. In your brain, you're actually storing something in. You're putting a deposit in. And so I think that is a tool people can use to get started. And you'll be surprised how it will come out. Those seeds you plant in your subconscious mind. And unfortunately, a lot of people have had childhoods and experiences in life. Traumas that have put negative thoughts and negative experiences into their subconscious that prevent them from being able to make positive actions. You know,
and one thing I want to touch on too. I think that's almost key to staying with the goal, right? So, but one thing I do want to mention that you had said earlier, and it's kind of based around the African proverb, and I actually applied it into my life. I was in my 20s, and I'd had my degree, but I had some initial rejection, which is, you get that, you know, you send out a tape and like, no, thank you for reaching out, but you know, and you send out another tape and you send out another tape. And so I'm not one to get easily discouraged.
Exactly.
But there are like 20 tapes and nobody really saw my passion for neurology. Nobody saw it. And I was like, okay, so I just kind of drifted and started doing other stuff. I was a gold broker for a little bit. I was a loan officer for a little bit. Definitely not my passion. You know, both of them, I'm looking at weather on the internet, right? So, but I remember my dad telling me one time, and I kind of did what you had said. He said, you know, if you're not gonna use your degree, it doesn't do you much good to have it, right? And it does you some good, but I got what he meant, right? I wasn't applying what I'd learned. And so I literally went back on the freeway and I'm like, let me get off on the right-off ramp. And I literally did. I went back and I went on the right-off ramp and I started going down the right path. And and it totally changed everything.
But you know what's key to that? Because I've had that experience too. Your father. You went back and spoke to your father and he reminded you of who you are.
Yeah, true.
And that
sounds touching.
That I'm serious. I mean, like for me, my father, I had that, you know, we could talk about fathers because as a man, you know, there's only certain situations my father could get me through. Even my mother couldn't talk to me about it, you know, and encourage, you know.
And it's if you've got that, and here's the thing, if you have that strong family, because start leaning on. So I asked him a question, and you know, what should I do? and I did it, and it went well. So I was like, oh, let me test this again. What should I do here?
Right.
And it went well.
Right.
And what should I do here? And it went well. And I was like, so then I literally started leaning on him.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a shortcut because I don't think we pass enough of our wisdom down.
Right.
So I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use this guy's wisdom to make decisions.
Well, you got to understand, how many things he had to do right for you to be in that position.
That's true.
How many things his family had to do, even the things that they didn't achieve,
right,
that they struggled through. It also kind of creates a strength. It's like nothing's lost. The failures and the successes create something, and it gets passed to the next generation.
They can both be used.
Yes, they both can. But and for me, like on my mother's side, my grandmother, who's still alive, she's 95. Wow. I mean, they pick cotton in her and all her 11 brothers and sisters pick cotton in La Mesa, Texas.
Okay.
To raise enough money to pay for college.
Wow.
To leave plantation in Palestine to go to Houston to go to college. Wow. So when I look at what they've done and the realities they live through, and it's I'm gonna take it a little further. I was thinking about it last night. So just this conversation is very real for me.
Yeah.
My grandmother was telling me that when she left Palestine, Texas, where we had like 100 acres, we were farmers, sharecroppers, and to go to this big city, Houston. To go to college, Houston, she was the first class of Texas Southern University. There used to be Texas College for Negroes. So this was during segregation, et cetera. And she got a job working in the home, cleaning the home of a Jewish family and taking care of their kids. And I put it in the context of all the stuff on the news about Elon Musk and all that stuff. I said, well, there's a Holocaust survivor that came on, and she was like 93. And it made me remember that, my grandmother was working in the home of a family, a Jewish family during this time. Yeah. So they must have been Holocaust survivors. Yeah. And we're just looking at people who've been through very traumatic experiences, who are really supporting each other to survive. And what you don't know from that is that you're part of someone's legacy. Right. And you're touching people and you're blessing people as you go. And if you want better things to happen and more things to open for you, bless other people around you. And you're giving all that positive talk, you're encouraging people, it's gonna come back to you. Okay. People are gonna say thank you. Or they're gonna say, man, you're amazing. I appreciate what you said. So long story short, none of us are individuals. We are the next chapter in a long story. So you talk about your father, right, et cetera.
Those who precede us,
yes,
and those
who are yet to come.
Yep. Yeah. Now let me ask you, where could people go to find out more kind of motivational goal setting and how to stick with goals?
So my name is Dr. Omavi. I'm the Sleep MD. So we use sleep to help people heal. They can go to sleepmd.com and you can get more information. You can make an appointment if you like a consult with myself or someone from my team to help you set your goals and meet your goals and help you find your rhythm. You can go to biorhythms.com and learn more about how we use the science of circadian rhythms to help you heal and to help you reach your goals.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Omavi.
My pleasure.
Look forward to having you on again.
Thank you, sir.
If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can check out our past archive of episodes on kfoxtv.com or listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for breaking it down with me, and we'll see you next time here on The Breakdown.